I can barely lift my feet off of the deck as I disembark from the Tiny and Mighty. Back in Matet, where I started my first flight, the adrenaline wearing off, I pause in the hangar door, looking back at the scuffed up sighty. I have to pinch myself. That's my ship. Well, mostly. Well, the hull at least is mine. As I wander through the station to find the hostel I'm staying at, it's eerily quiet. I've never been in a station this quiet. I only see other pilots, tired, feet dragging, or security patrolling the passages. The smell of something delicious wafts out of the side tunnel. I glance at the dimly lit tunnel, pausing to decide if I should deviate from my path. Being in a strange hub has me a little bit on edge. Empty passenger waiting areas or locked down stores. Where I'm from, life never stops. There's always people filling the overpopulated spaces of the asteroid base. This feels kind of like a Hollow movie set. A horror where everyone has suddenly disappeared from the station. Then my stomach gets the better of me, and I follow the smell into a bustling grill. The sizzling of fish and fresh vegetables makes my mouth water. I guess there are perks to docking at an agricultural hub. As I wait, I look up at the holofeeds. A story is finishing up about the rescue efforts from burning stations. Explosions rock the docks as people flee for their lives. Then Prince Harold's assassinated. I watch as a highlight reel of rich and wealthy Imperials partying and the now dead prince with his beautiful daughter. Just then, my eye catches something off in the last shot, but my food arrives and I don't ponder the logo that flashed across the screen for a split second. I make it to the hostel just before the check-in closed down. I toss my bag on an open cot. There are a dozen or so other pilots still up in the room. I decide to pick the bunk furthest from a lean man with tattoos on his face and electrical green hair. His ocular implants make me feel like he's looking right through me as his head turns to follow me through the room. I jump as a bodacious young woman extends a hand my way. I am a lioness. I smile, shaking her hand back. I'm Maeve. Oh, we don't use real names around here, new girl. Her laughter doesn't quite mock me, but I blush anyway. An older gentleman glances over the pilot's handbook he's studying on his holopad. Pick up any good missions? I pull off my boots, sitting down on the edge of the bunk. Yes, although I spent most of the day trying to land my ship, but I was able to transport 5 tons of tea, run some data, and bring some medicine back here to Matet. I flick some virtual photos of home up on the bottom side of the bunk above me. My pet fox stalking the aquaponics lab looking for rats. My giant family gathering for my grandparents' 50th anniversary party. Reaching into my bag, I pull out a little cube. In it is a cutting from my father's prized chili plant. It glows a soft violet, mist obscuring the green leaves. I set it on the little shelf above my head next to my bag. I feel a thud on the mattress and look up to see a handsome young man lounging on the end of my bed. You like dudes? My eyes widen and my heart skips a beat. Lioness laughs, scuffing the guy on the shoulder. Give the girl the moment before trying to sweep her off her feet. He rubs his shoulder, but just grins at me and raises an eyebrow. Well, before I can answer, he's handing me a virtual flower. Ping me. I notice encoded in the hologram is his commander code and call sign, Bandit. I sigh, hearing Lioness and Bandit chatting back and forth with a word or two from the older gentleman. As much as I would love to get to know my fellow pilots, my eyes will barely stay open. Good night, I say, and get a chorus of responses from around the room. Activating sleep mode, my little bunk turns into a pod. A force shield closes the small areas off and goes opaque. The last thing Jax told me before catching another holler out to Wolf 249, don't trust anyone here. Keep your stuff close, your bunk locked, and your pistol charged. Staring up at the smiling faces of my family and friends, I pull up my credit balance. 60,000 credits in one day? I could go home already and change lives. Before long, I'll have a giant Type 9 and be hauling fresh produce straight to our little mining colony. With that thought, I drift off to sleep. I wake up to the sound of a chime. My bunk is filled with a golden rose-tinted light. Everything is blurry, and I reach above my head to the shelf for my glasses. I look up at the hollow pictures of home, smiling and running a finger over the one of Chutney, which activates a short video loop, my fox pouncing and jumping in the air, having found one of his favorite toys. Another ping comes, and I see a ripple effect on the wall of my bunk. Commander Lioness is requesting voice comms. I tap voice only, sure I look like a mess right now. I say groggily, "Good morning, sleepyhead. You're gonna get the dregs off the mission board if you don't get down to the docks pronto. That ship of yours is just soaking up docking fees when it could be making you a fortune." Lioness's halo of pink hair bobs as she strolls down the corridor, dodging cargo moving equipment and other commanders as intent on getting somewhere first. I smiled. Her energy is infectious. And even though we'd only met briefly the night before, I had a feeling I wouldn't really have a say in the fact that we were now friends. "I'll be there in a minute. Don't take all the good paying jobs before I get up." "No promises," she says, waving to someone I can't see, and ends the call. With a giant grin on my face, I pull on a jumpsuit clumsily in the small space. As I deactivate the walls of the bunk, the quiet of the hostel catches me off guard. All of the people who were here the night before have disappeared as if they've never been here. I don't linger. Some people have a fear of the dark. I have a fear of empty spaces. A horror hollow where the entire planet or station has been wiped out by the Thargoids or some unknown contagion. I shiver just thinking about it. Duffel bag packed, I walk quickly towards the hangar bay, sighing with relief as the noise of people and station work envelops me. I grab some food from a vendor just outside the docks and rush in to check the boards. "Sleeping Beauty has joined us," a deep rumbling voice says. I turn around and see a giant of a man. He looks a lot like Lioness. Extending a hand for me to shake, he says, "I'm Lioness's big brother, Shrimp." I admit I squeaked when he picked me up into a hug. Tentatively, I hugged back, my eyes wide with surprise. When he finally set me down on the deck, I ask, "Isn't a Sidewinder a bit small for you?" He laughs, a deep rumbling laugh. "Oh yes, I prefer my Type 9 over there." My eyes dart over to see what I had taken to be part of the station, noticing the landing gear and then the scaffolding going up to a tiny little person welding the side. That's a ship? I look over at the dozen of Sidewinders going through their ready checks. "Yes, ma'am, it is," Shrimp smiles. "Lioness and I grew up on that ship, so you might call it home." Almost as if summoned, Lioness yells from behind a very pink Sidewinder, "Bro, I need your help loading up some cargo." "Nice to meet you," his grin fading into a serious expression. "Watch out for yourself. Not all interdictions are the cops or pirates." Before I could ask him what he meant, he strode towards his sister's ship. I grabbed a few missions from the board and walked towards the Pilots Federation contact I had to talk to. The woman barely looks up at me as I transfer my list of missions I'd like to take over to her. "Frankly, I don't have much time for the likes of you," she says, swiping the missions back to me with the pickup locations. "We're forced to do business with inexperienced pilots. Mess up one time and we'll own that piece of junk you're flying." "Thank you," I said, already looking for where I'm going to go pick up the tons of tea and coffee I'll be transporting. The harried dock worker isn't much nicer, but I take the time to smile and ask them how their day has gone. Her gaunt face lights up. "It's been busy. You need a hand with this tea?" Yes, please. I'm so lucky she offered. The crates are really hard to move, and it takes me a minute to get the cargo rack filled. Have a nice day, I say, swiping a few credits her way. She salutes me before bustling back to her station as a supervisor yells over her comms. I check that the data has transferred, the cargo is locked in tight, and the ship's systems are good to go. Settling into the pilot seat, I smile. Here we go again.